Welcome back to that build, and today I'm installing this forking thing. So firstly, if you're new to the channel, I do invite you to like, subscribe and check the notification bell so you can keep updated with everything going on in the channel. Secondly, I do apologise, today will be a bit loud because everything's happening it seems. My neighbours are constructing, they're chopping down stuff, they're driving everywhere, so hopefully it doesn't sound up too badly, but yeah, just bear through it with me please. And thirdly, as always, it's windy as Firstly, this is the 4H Tech short shifter. Doesn't seem like much, but there isn't really much to it. It doesn't need a massive, great big gizmo. It's not replacing the entire center controller here. It is going inside the engine bay. So why am I in the interior right now? Well, one thing I always find with short shifters is that they say it's got less throw and everything like that. I want to visually see first just how much it's reduced it by, and I'm going to use the old knifey on the actual situation. So here's the fork and here's the... No, we're not going to play this game. So what we'll do is first shove it into 3, and what do I want to go by? Centimeters or inches? Centimeters? Yeah, it's a horrible measurement, but I think in this situation probably easier. So I'm going to put it against the actual line here. So of course it's got the little extra bit at the top, so we're just going to have to ignore that. So in third gear now, let's say we go from the center, just scratch up the console, that'd be nice. I'm at about the 8.5, so 8.5 centimeters. And trust me, I don't even know mils, and I use metric. It just confuses me. But anyway, 8.5 centimeters is what I can see here right now. Down to 4th, whoa. And again, I'm just going to line it up with the edge here. So I'm sitting at, let's say 15.5. So 8.5 to 15.5. I've recorded this. I guarantee I'm going to forget it by the end. But for now, 8.5 and 15.5 is what we're working with from the line here, from 3rd and then down to 4th. I don't really think I can judge too much by the side. I've got really, unless I start using tape rulers. But I think up and down, it's going to be the most visible. We're definitely going to notice something, so let's work with that. So number one, let's pop the bonnet. Or since it's in the American side, we'll pop the hood. What's that? You want me to install it now? I'm getting there, calm down, calm down. Oh, it's very anxious. It's even got the instruction booklet included. Thank you. I'll be sure to read that. So, it is apparently rather involved, and first off it actually requires removing the battery, secondary to that the ECU, which is a little annoying, but anyway, it is required, and then the battery tray beneath it, so there is a bit to remove in order to get to where we need, but the good thing is once we are down there, it is a relatively straightforward and really easy installation. You poor fool. Just tossing up if I move the car over now whilst I've still got everything attached, because that sun's not going away anytime soon. And it is quite bright and rather warm. Right, so I suppose we'll start with the battery then. So, not very inclusive on all the details, but it pretty much skips the removal of all this stuff and just gets straight onto the installation. So these are no use whatsoever in the very start of the program. So definitely ditching that. From looking at it, there's a couple of ancillaries attached to this base tray here. So they need to be removed first. I think that's simply, yeah, okay, there are a couple more things clipped into the back here. I don't know if there's something underneath this plastic tray here. I'll move this and have a look. Stuffing away, stuffing away. Okay, a little drip thing. It's holding water. Excellent. Yes, there was. So we need to remove this as well out of the equation, because otherwise you can't get to two of the bolts underneath it. So far we've used a 10mm socket, a 10mm spanner, and a 13mm socket. So we've got all the numbers going on at the moment, all two of them anyway. I think they look like a 13 as well for the base plate, so crack on with that. Yes, very good. So that dropped and didn't hit the ground. Good start. Okay, so it wasn't the nut that I dropped, it was a bracket that goes underneath. Fun. And that's kind of an interesting one because we need a magnet. So yeah, it's one of these little things here, basically fish it out. So that's going to be fun getting that back on, but that's a problem for future me. Yes. Okay, so instantaneous for you, not so much for me. I am back with a new accessory. So there is some quite sharp metal within the engine bay, and I think this was from the battery tray, but I don't know exactly. But regardless, if you're doing this, probably a good idea to wear some gloves, which is what I'll be doing now. So now we're moving on, and wow, I did not realize how far down that shifter actually was. I thought it was going to be literally right underneath, but no, no, no. It is buried way back there. So I don't really think the likelihood of me doing a DIY install on this is even going to happen. And I think most of what I filmed is going to can, because it's one of those things whereby you can read the instruction manual, it tells you something, and then you can actually remove the battery, the ECU, the battery tray, and see that the actual shifter is buried within the engine bay. So what I'm going to do is attempt to install it and then come back to you once if it gets done. Oh man. So, as you can tell by the lack of sunlight now, it's been quite a while, and no direct fault of 4H. I'm sure that once I get in there and start driving, no, everything is just literally put back together. I've just finished reassembling everything, and these instructions sadly are much to be desired. Honestly, had I known the difficulty, and I'm sure there's probably a DIY on this on YouTube somewhere, I probably should have looked that up first, because what this thing really lacks is just the explanation of how difficult it is to install. I have done some pretty annoying jobs in the past, including doing literally oil filter changes on a Nissan NX2000 or a Nissan NXR if you're in Australia. That is a cramped engine bay, and getting oil filter off, some people tend to ignore that altogether and just do oil changes. I have also changed the starter motor on a first generation Mercedes A-Class. That is a subframe drop. This, my left arm is absolutely caning right now, and my back is definitely in a worse state of wear. Had I known it was going to be this much trouble to install, I would have simply left the shifter alone, because it has been an effort and a half. If you're considering doing this job, be forewarned, it is not by any means of the imagination or stretch of mind, and I'm sure I've said those completely out of order then, an easy job. It is quite difficult. So take that advice as you will, but I can only hope now that with it installed, and I hope everything's back together normally and I haven't bent any pins putting these plugs back in, because even they're fun to reassemble sometimes, that everything works and that I'm really happy with the shifter. I'm sure I will be. But man, I have more cuts on my hand. I ended up abandoning the gloves, they just kept getting in the way, and yeah, I'm just cut for gold right now. So let's step back inside the cabin and let's measure, and then we'll go for a little test drive. Okay. Oh man, my back is absolutely killing me. So let's see if all my hard efforts and grazed knuckles and what have you have paid off. So let's just measure it first. We'll run with that. Ooh, wow. Immediately it feels firmer, like straight away I'm noticing it's so much firmer. But now, do I remember, this was ages ago now, I think it was 8.5 and 15.5. It's still 8.5. Okay. Okay. Well, here's the thing as well. I didn't really pay that much attention where I had it on the shaft. So let's just run with the medium, and we're down to 14. So it doesn't change much in the upwards, but it does in the downwards. So it's more or less changed the fulcrum point, if I've used that term correctly. So we've gained, or lost, 1.5 centimeters, potentially, again, it depends on where I measure it from. I've got 13.5 at the moment. Either 2 centimeters worth of throw, which is a bit. What I didn't account for is the side to side and then the engagement of fifth and reverse. But simply demonstrating the difference from third to fourth gives you a bit of an idea. So we've lost 2 centimeters, which we go that much, which isn't too bad really. That's a fair bit. Like that's nearly, what is that, nearly an inch? No, not even. 3/4, a little over half. In between, let's say 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, let's say 3/4 of an inch. So 3/4 of an inch we've lost, yeah, lost in terms of throw. And there's a fly in here. There we go. No, it's still there. So yeah, it does feel a bit firmer too, which it definitely does feel different. So it has made a difference in terms of the weight, because now it's shifted it further towards that counterweight. So that actual, I don't know, transfer of energy or whatever you want to call it, it really has changed the feel of it. It's the same problem as the Bug though. Fifth gear, it really does feel notch. It's a notch to get it in there basically, but we'll find out when we're actually driving. So I suppose let's do that. I mean, apart from fifth gear, that is really a nice improvement. Yeah, I mean, fifth gear itself still does feel a little bit more of a throw compared to now what first through four is. I don't really do a lot of city driving, so for me, I'm mostly in fifth gear majority of the time regardless, but yeah, that is quite a massive improvement in terms of feel. It feels more direct, it feels sturdier, it does feel a lot more weighted in comparison. Before it felt, even though this is quite heavy, it felt soft because of the throw, the travel it had. So now it actually does feel a lot better for it. So the verdict then comes, was it worth it? Hard call. I mean, it was an absolute nightmare of a job. If I had to put it up there in terms of ease, I would put it at a 6.5 to a 7 out of 10 of difficulty. It's such a cramped place to work in, and it is such a difficult sort of tight area that you have to try and get your arms into, your hands around, everything like that. I attempted to take the wheel off because I thought I might have had better access through there. Nope, that wasn't any better in comparison. I just tried so many things, and of course the only way I could really get the whole thing put back together was to put a bit of tape around the fork itself, and then the two spaces would actually need to be there in order to move it up and then shift it across a bit. I ended up having to actually put some tape around that to hold it in place, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to get the bolt through, hold it all in place, and then start to thread it in. So honestly, it was, but am I happy with it? I think I will be. I mean, having now had the short shifter in the Bug for quite a while actually. I did that on the side and I haven't yet released that in a video. But I've had that now for a fair while. I'm actually really happy with it. It was a diesel geek unit. It wasn't a 4H tech, with that being said. So, and ease of application considerably easier. I mean, substantially easier in comparison. But again, it does feel a lot nicer. Yeah, I definitely do recommend it. But by the same account as well, be prepared. It is, oh, I've really got to get used to that. It feels so different now. It doesn't feel like I'm in gear yet. Third feels a bit shy. Fifth still feels like a throw, but I'll get used to that. That's exactly the same as the Bug. Yeah, I like that. It is a nice improvement. It is a definite, absolute improvement. It's going to be up to you as to whether you find it worthy of your hands, your back, and just general headache of installing that thing. It is up there. So be forewarned. Yeah, I did not have a fun time installing that personally, but each their own. So that's pretty much going to do it again today, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. Yeah, we'll see how we go. I don't think there's going to be an episode next week, just because of all the way things are going. I'm back to doing family related things, so that's more or less taking the precedent there. The Porsche's still going on. I'm still doing stuff on that in the background, but that's only an hour a day, and I still am not anywhere near a point of releasing that episode yet, so that's still a ways off. So Bug episode I haven't done kind of the telltale of everything I've done to that car since. But at the end of the day, that'll be an episode a little further down the track as well. There'll be more stuff going on with that car as well. More with the Abarth as well. I've got a few more things for it. I was hoping to get a bit more done today and release it in stages for episodes, but this took the whole day. It is now, I've got to reset the clock because the battery was disconnected. I think it's about 4:35 p.m. so I'm done. I'm absolutely done for the day. So anyway guys, thank you very much for joining me. As always, like, subscribe, comment below, etc. This has been that build. Now get back to your build. I hope it's not as hard as mine. Until next time, cheers.